Hello, and welcome to the Mike Al Show.
I'm Mike.
And I'm Al. You may notice something different because we're showing ourselves, because we keep on being copyrighted on YouTube, and if we keep on doing that, we're going to get in trouble, so we better stop. Today, we're going to go over the Pro Bowl game after already having the competitions and stuff, and the AFC winning that. We'll review the actual game. We'll go over Brady retiring, the coaches carousel, and a little bit of NCAA basketball because after the season ends, we're going to go over that. And we'll have our Super Bowl predictions next week. First of all, with the Pro Bowl game. So the quarterbacks this year are very strange because normally you have the three best quarterbacks that didn't make the Super Bowl in the Pro Bowl game. But this year, you just have a bunch of random people. For the AFC, you have Tyler Huntley, Trevor Lawrence, Derek Carr. And then for the NFC, you have Kirk Cousins, Geno Smith, and Jared Goff. What do you think about that, Mike?
I think that all those players are mediocre and they didn't have somebody like Joe Burrow and Josh Allen for the AFC, and for the NFC could have somebody like, I'm not sure.
Well, the thing is, none of those guys wanted to be in the Pro Bowl because they're all subs before these AFC guys and Tyler Huntley and all those guys. But none of them wanted to do it, so that's why you got these guys. But it's just the Pro Bowl games just become a joke. When you have a quarterback that throws 2 touchdown passes on the season and Tyler Huntley making the Pro Bowl, that's just unacceptable. Trevor Lawrence, I mean, he's a legitimate sub. He hasn't had a bad season at all. Derek Carr, you shouldn't have a guy get benched for a backup and get outplayed by that backup in the remaining week of the season and still make the Pro Bowl. That's just insane. For the NFC side, Kirk Cousins, he didn't have a bad season, but at the same time, he's got a god squad of receivers. Geno Smith, he had a really good season for his expectations coming in the year and having a lot to prove, and he proved it. And then Jared Goff, leading one of the highest scoring offenses this year. I'm completely fine with the NFC. I mean, there's not many more guys that you could get in there. Personally, I mean, as you can see up there, I'm a Bears fan. I think maybe Justin Fields, he maybe could have gotten there, but I'm okay with him not getting in there. He didn't have the passing game to be able to get in there, so it's fine. But just rushing his stats, it would have been good for him. Next up, we have Tom Brady retiring. What do you think about that whole entire situation, Mike?
I think that he should have retired last year if he would have wanted to keep his wife, or maybe he didn't want a wife, so he decided to play another season just to make her mad. So they got a divorce just so he didn't have to say that he didn't want to be with her anymore. But Tom Brady, it was time for him to retire. He was getting really old.
Do you think he'll be back next year?
No.
See, I don't think he'll be. Like, he said this time it's for good, and I think it truly is for good this time. I mean, but I just don't get it. Why would you throw everything away? Divorcing your wife and your kids are just, like, lost to you, and throwing that all away to go play a crappy season of football, be under 500, make a playoff in the worst division of the league, and then lose first round of the playoff. That's just a terrible way to go out in your final year of football. But I just don't get where his mind's at. He is still probably the best quarterback to play the game, but he just completely ruined a little bit of his legacy by having a terrible year. Like, he either should have retired after he won a Super Bowl with the Buccaneers to prove that he didn't need Bill Belichick to win Super Bowls, or he should have gone to a different team and won a Super Bowl and then truly, like no debate at all, been the best ever to do it. What do you think about that, Mike?
Yeah, Tom Brady is definitely the greatest of all time.
Next up, we're going into the coach carousel. So, Sean Payton was traded to the Broncos for a first-round pick, number 29 overall, and a second. And then in return, the Broncos received Sean Payton and a third-round pick. What do you make of that, Mike?
I was not expecting Sean Payton to go to the Broncos. That surprises me. I figured he would want to go to a better team, but I guess he just wants to coach a team. And, I mean, the Broncos, with right coaching and Russell Wilson getting his head out of his butt, they could be decent.
Yeah, I think the way Russell Wilson ended off the season once he got rid of Nathaniel Hackett, that's just a great start for him. Like, that'll be really good for him. And then Sean Payton being a coaching genius, he'll do perfect there. And maybe the Broncos will actually do what their hopes were to do this year. To be honest, I didn't even know it was possible in the NFL to trade coaches. That's just insane.
Yeah, I had no idea you could trade coaches. I never knew about that at all.
Yeah, in my existence, I've never heard about that happening. I mean, to be fair, there's only been 3 coaches in the history to be traded, so that's why. But also, he had to be traded because he retired. He retired, or so he says. But he was still on contract with the Saints, so he either had to go still be a coach for the Saints or wait until that contract expired to go be a head coach. So, I mean, the Broncos go into even more debt with having less draft picks to work with after the whole Russell Wilson and Sean Payton deal, which, I mean, I don't even know what's going to happen to him.
Next, we have Frank Wright going to the Panthers. What do you think about that, Al?
I don't really know what to think about that one. I mean, Carolina, it was terrible. Their whole entire situation was terrible. But to be fair, in Indianapolis, all of the teams he's gotten were washed quarterbacks, and yeah, he couldn't do much there. But Carolina, they got a bunch of young people and probably going to draft a quarterback this year. So I don't really know how he's going to do. His first couple of games will tell you all you need to know about him this year. What do you think about that, Mike?
Yeah, him coaching on the Colts, he had nothing to work with. They might be decent this year because third division was the worst division in the league last year, so they might have a chance.
Really, they need to go get a running back and get a quarterback, and if he's a good coach, it'll show it within the first couple weeks. Next weekend being the Super Bowl, so we'll make our predictions for the Super Bowl next week, so tune in for that. And after that, we're going to start talking about college basketball because it's much more interesting than the NBA. If you want to argue about it, you can argue with me all you want. College basketball is real. NBA is fake basketball with freaking LeBron James going to break the shooting record against the Milwaukee Bucks, which, whatever.
30 seasons later, he's going to break the record, like, play enough seasons.
See, even if he does, still doesn't make him the best to ever do it. Michael Jordan, by far, was the best. I mean, the man was so good at the game that he left to go play baseball to get a better challenge. I mean, he didn't have a good career in baseball. You know, he was not very good. Only reason he played, like, majors is because, he's Michael Jordan. But still, just to get a challenge, he went to go play the hardest sport there was, which I just have mad props for the man. But he's still 100 times better than LeBron ever is. I mean, he actually played defense, unlike LeBron. I mean, that's why the NBA sucks compared to college. College requires a whole team. NBA can be carried by one guy. It just looks fakes.
College players try their hardest to get into the NBA, but NBA players know they're already in there, so they don't try at all.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so our favorite college is the number 1 team, Purdue, which is number 1 for the 3rd time in the last 2 years, which I never thought in my life I would see Purdue as a top-ranked team, especially a top 10 ranked team. I mean, like, Purdue has always been not a bad team, but before Jaden Ivey, they were never like truly good, not really a good team. I mean, they had that year when they had like Biggie Swanson and Isaiah Thompson and all those people. They did good that year, won the Big Ten championship for the first time, but it doesn't matter. They truly have a good team this year. Purdue this week plays the rivals, IU. IU sucks.
Well, honestly, Purdue has a good defense, and they're not flashy. They're consistent. And Purdue and IU, that's going to be a struggle for Purdue.
Purdue plays as a team, and they're great. I mean, after Mason Gillis had 28 points the last game and popped off from 3, if he keeps consistent like this, Purdue is unstoppable because you can't double team Edey, kick it out to Gillis. He hits 3s all day. So you're either going to have Edey knocking down 2s, Gillis knocking down 3s, Lawyer knocking down 3s, and then their defense is just amazing along with their teamwork and everything like that. But Big Ten teams are always a struggle for Purdue, especially like Rutgers. Like, I knew they were going to lose to Rutgers. At Rutgers is known for beating high-ranked Big Ten teams. I mean, Rutgers has had a good year this year, but it won't. Purdue, it's all about the final championship, which Purdue will make it far or make it to at least the Sweet 16 and in March Madness, but I don't know how much better than that they'll do. But against this game, what's either going to happen is Purdue is going to lose by 1 point or they're going to win by a point. Which, I mean, that's all you need to win, is by 1 point. And Purdue and IU will be a very close game at Bloomington. It's going to be absolutely insane. What do you think about that, Mike?
Yeah, it's going to be really close. I'm not sure who's going to win. I'm hoping Purdue wins, but IU's going to give them a good run for their money.
Okay, that is all. Thank you, guys.